So we are in the Talcott Study Lounge, and we are holding an event for sewing, teaching college students how to sew, mend, alter their clothing without having to buy new clothing. So my mom is a big sewer, and she learned it from her mom, and her mom used to make all her 5 kids' clothing. So it's a big hobby in my family. My mom used to make all my Halloween costumes and that. So I learned a lot from them. I also work as a costumer at a children's theater in the summers, so I learned a lot from a very fabulous costumer there. But a lot of that was, how does the machine work? What does it make sense conceptually? But a lot of it, there's no way to learn sewing without being self-taught. You make so many mistakes that, you have to find your own way of doing things so often. One of the biggest mistakes I made was advertising that I have a sewing machine. It's not a common thing to have in a college dorm. A lot of my coworkers asked me to tailor things, to mend things, or to sew new things.
Well, if I'm completely and blatantly honest, it's for the engagement points. But then secondly, I do have holes in my leggings, and when I found out that I could fix those and not be so self-conscious walking around campus, that was great. This wasn't too new, but it was like, my level of craftsmanship was like, yep, this is about as good as it's gonna get. Definitely still need help.
Oh boy. There are so many reasons it's important, I think, for everyone to know how to fix their own clothing or just sew in general. Aside from it just being a very good life skill, I think it helps revamp the mindset of valuing your things. We live in a world where fashion is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it relies on fast fashion. What's in one year isn't in the next year, and so what happens to all of that clothing? It goes to landfills. It's a huge environmental issue, and it also means that things can be made very cheaply and very unethically. So if we start valuing the things we wear, we end up seeing a more ethical, more sustainable future in clothing. It's also just cheaper. If you, rip a hole in your favorite sweater, instead of throwing that out, if you can sew it, you save the money of having to buy a new one.
I still haven't ripped any holes in these pants, but if I did, I would totally want to put a patch on it. I'm just regardless of the sustainability, it's just that's cool. I've got a patch on my pants, now I'm up there, I'm funky and hip, There's just a coolness factor that adds on to it for me, beyond not having to go buy a new pair of jeans.
It's just for people who are learning to become independent, it's critical to be able to, how to sew a button onto something. So it's also a lot of fun. You get to make whatever you want. People are making stuffed animals in here right now.